it back to his old days with St. Louis and Arizona. Buy or sell, Goldie will finish top 7 in fantasy first baseman.
No, I'm going to say no. I think he'll fall off. Older player here, he'll be top 10, but not top 7 here. Top 10, I would say, yeah, I'd buy it. Top 7, I'm going to say no here. I think he'll put up decent numbers here. Not as good as he was. I don't think he's going to bat 340, 350 all year long.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
I'm with you in that you're going to have to take calculated risks. And that's what Leon Rose has been about since he's been here. And he's been measured. He hasn't been gung-ho in terms of mortgaging this franchise's future for immediate gains. They have had a prudent approach, and you're going to have to roll the dice in certain respects to get to that top level. And you're right, Donnie, when you look at next season, all things considered, you hope that they're healthy, and if they roll over, say, 85 to 90% of this roster, this is a top 3 team in the East. With Boston coming down, Milwaukee is going to come down, and so you have to figure it's going to be Indiana, the Knicks, the Cleveland Cavaliers in some sort of order in the preseason rankings. And so where they go from here, Jason Kidd is obviously the hot name right now. Both sides are interested from what we've heard in terms of Kidd and the New York Knicks. Is he that championship caliber coach to take the Knicks there?
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Every 5 days, it's really exciting when Skeens pitches, and it's terrible watching him pitch because every time he pitches, they don't score.
Having him hit the lineup probably would actually help when he pitches. There's no way to do it because you can't, but it's beyond frustrating. And the numbers will tell you, the books have adjusted.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
Welcome in to Game Time Decisions on SportsGrid on a Friday night. Kevin Walsh with you, which means we have NBA Finals action game number 4, where for the first time in quite some time, it is possible at the end of the game, the Oklahoma City Thunder will not be favorites to win the NBA championship as they trailed 2-1. And if their road struggles continue, they will be down 3-1 in this series to the Indiana Pacers. It is, of course, our main event tonight. A minus 230 number on OKC to win this series. A minus 240 number on OKC to win this basketball game tonight. We will get into this in great detail. We'll go through best bets, full cards for you, different options, different spots that you can attack within this game. But since we're here on a Friday, we figure we kind of also want to go to both sides of the coin. I mean, it's a Friday. There's friendship in the air. We are happy to be with you. We're happy to be together here on this Friday. So the team in the back cooked up a little Friendship Friday special where I feel as if everybody was trying to make the man next to him smile while putting a little sizzle together. Gunnar Henderson, 2+ hit run RBI. Stephen Kwan, late night against the Seattle Mariners, 2+ hit run RBI. Over the 9.5 in Louisville, Oregon State on the college baseball board. Don't worry who's responsible for what. It's a Friendship Friday. Everybody is all in on the accountability pie, credit pie, blame pie. We hope it's a winner pie at a plus 388 number. Now, that's one end of this. The other end of it is it's Friday the 13th. Can we get spooky? Can we get freaky? Can we get some sizzles on the board for the people? I figured Freaky Friday Freddie Freeman would work for the people with a $550 plus price on 2+ RBI. I thought that would work. Kofsky focusing on the number 13, SGA, 13+ rebounds plus assists, a straight bet, a bet I really like. And then something's a little off, let's be honest, if you're seeing an MLS play hit your card. Yarnell goes to the Timbers money line, -105. It's going down. I'm yelling timber. -105 against San Jose for a little MLS action. So just kind of setting it up here on a Friday. Wanted to put a little extra juice on the plate, and we've done just that. We will also go through a full baseball card. I quite like the slate tonight, and we'll do that in just a little bit. But focusing in on the NBA Finals, for me, my best bet is on Aaron Nesmith over 11.5 points. I think this is a perfect spot, a perfect number. The best number right now, I think you are finding in the market, looks to be -113, maybe -115. All of that is absolutely fine. This is a number that opened on Wednesday night, -130, and has come down, and I think has allowed a great opportunity here. Nesmith has found himself performing very consistently at home. And what I mean by that is when this team plays 2 straight home games in this postseason, the first game kind of struggles, single digits. Game number 1, right against Milwaukee, 7. Followed it up with 16. When they went home against the Cavs, a 7 performance, followed by 12. With the Knicks, an 8-point performance, followed by a 16-point performance in Game 4. The 7 points that he scored in game number 3 is par for the course. A 12-plus performance tonight is likely what follows. I also think we get a discount due to the 22 minutes that Nesmith played in that basketball game, which were not because Carlisle isn't all in on Aaron Nesmith being an important player for this team, and it was all about foul trouble. He ended up actually fouling out of the basketball game. I think we've got a really good spot tonight. If he can play around 30 minutes, we're in a great spot. He has scored 12 or more in 7 of the 8 playoff games where he's cracked 30 minutes. I really like this spot tonight because for the Indiana Pacers, this is a pivotal spot. If you want best bets from our guys, Kofsky goes a little 3-man, 1+ hit run RBI. Lindor, Devers, and Corbin Carroll checking in at -104. And then Yarnell does go to a Royals team total at 4.5. Kansas City going against Luis Severino and the Athletics here on this slate. Sticking with the NBA, though, where the number now is at 6, pretty much anywhere you look. We go back to what we discussed on Wednesday, and a fact that has stayed true after that game. The Thunder have not covered a single road game yet in these playoffs. Not one. 0-8. It is historically terrible to be in the finals. It is remarkable. And some of that is this team laying a big number. Some, they're now 500 straight up on the road in these playoffs. 4-4. Their biggest victory by 6. That came against Memphis in round number 1. Their other victories were by 2, 2, and 5. So these playoffs have shown us getting 6 with the Pacers at home is quite the gift. I've noticed in some of the reactions, analysis, assumptions that people are going through the ebbs and flows with this OKC team that I went through in the Denver series. Again, I don't say that to be like, oh, nobody knows what they're talking about, but I still think there is a bit of an adjustment to who OKC has been on the road. What I mean is, I thought the Thunder were going to win every game they played against Denver, right? I entered every single one of those matchups thinking, they're going to win by 10. They're going to win by 15. They're going to win this game by 15. They're going to win this, double digits, no problem. And sometimes that was true, but most of the time it was not. And game number 1, a lot of people thinking, okay, OKC probably rolls. They don't. Okay, they're definitely going to roll in game number 2. And they did. They didn't win by 25, but they won by margin. Okay, they're probably going to roll in game number 3. Not at all, and I certainly wasn't expecting that. And now a lot of people tonight, well, they're probably going to roll here. We go back to that Denver series. They trailed entering the 4th quarter. They had to have a comeback. They had it, but they only won the game by 5. I would be very cautious laying the number with OKC tonight. I almost would prefer, if they are actually going to finally get the job done in dominant fashion, laying an alt number, 12.5, for example, and get yourself what would be, let's see what that number is right now. At 12.5, it just dipped under the 2-1 marker. Just see if this team can actually extend, because we've not seen it yet. An area I am confident on OKC tonight, it's Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and Jalen Williams, each for 5 assists. Those two have not had consecutive games individually without 5 assists yet in this postseason. Yet for the first time in the last game that we just played, neither guy had 5 assists in a game. It is a supreme two-man bounce-back spot that at -106 in a parlay I'm looking to take advantage of, which is J-Dub and SGA each for 5+ assists tonight. That's where we sit in the NBA. Let's get your Major League Baseball card on the deck next.
Enter into the magical world of McLuck.com, where even the smallest of spins can win real cash prizes. Adventure into over 1,000 of the best Vegas-style slot games. So what are you waiting for? Unlock your free welcome offer today. Join the fun where winners play and players win.
Two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take.
Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity. I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this once? Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune in to Game Time Decisions weekdays on SportsGrid.
The game is on. The stakes are high. But the action isn't just on the field.
Rearranging that rim. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
Just a little flyer, couple of 18.5-point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. That's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Did you know sportsbooks tend to draw up tighter bet lines for events that get even more bettors, like championship games or major matchups? My tip? Try betting on less popular sports. You might have a better shot at beating those odds. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
Major League Baseball board, let's get right to it. Kevin Gausman, bounce back spot, over 5.5 strikeouts. Typically don't attack the K's market, certainly not like this, but it did jump off of the page to me where Gausman has allowed 3+ earned runs in consecutive starts. If you take a look for Gausman, that's happened a few other times this year, and the follow-up games, 9 strikeouts. Also, after a slow start to the year striking out hitters, he has now rarely gone consecutive games without 6 Ks. I think you've got that good spot tonight here for Kevin Gausman, so give me over 5.5 strikeouts. I liked a lot of totals on this board. I played them light, but hopefully we can just come out a winner here. I was going to play an under 10.5 in O's Angels. Missed out on the number, went down to flat 10. I thought to myself, you know what? If I'm not going to get the best of the number, I'm going to leave it alone. So the unders begin in Boston with the Red Sox and the Yankees. I think Garrett Crochet could very well pitch a gem here. He's in a bounce-back spot. This is actually a rematch of Crochet and Yarbrough from the Sunday night game that we saw between these two teams. That was a 10-7 affair. And that game was booked at 7.5 in the Bronx. We go to Fenway, we get an 8.5. I think it's a nice spot to sell high on the way those offenses attack these two pitchers in the most recent outing and go under the 8.5. Sticking with the New York teams and unders, give me Clay Holmes and Taj Bradley to pitch to an under. That's an 8. Mets Rays. Clay Holmes has been great. Taj Bradley is in a bounce-back spot. The Clay Holmes season is one that doesn't grab all the headlines around baseball. It's too early. Too much else is going on. But when you try and figure out, can this Mets team legitimately make a run? If Clay Holmes pitches like this, which is an all-star level, they can. He's a big part of their success. I'm going over in Braves Rockies. Quite frankly, if Herman Marquez is on the mound, a part of me thinks I can get it on Atlanta alone, which he's pitched against Atlanta this year. He gave up 7 earned runs in that baseball game. Bryce Elder, I know the underlying statistics are kind to Elder. I don't want to back this guy off of an 8-inning outing. That is rare air for Bryce Elder. Was phenomenal against the Giants despite the fact that they did not win that baseball game. But I think the Rockies could tack on 3 to 4 runs in this game and get us over that 8.5. The Braves are huge favorites. They should be. But the Rockies could score a little bit to get us some extra juice. I'm going under Athletics Royals. I know it goes against Yarnell's best bet. Maybe he's got me beat here. But Luis Severino is perhaps the perfect embodiment of what we are now seeing for these home games for the Athletics in Sacramento. And figuring out how Coors-esque is that ballpark. In the 9 starts that Luis Severino has at home, he is pitching to a 7.1 ERA. Nightmarish. In the 5 performances that he's had on the road, a .87. Luis Severino is much better than I think the numbers are suggesting right now. And Seth Lugo's in a good spot enough. You guys know Lugo, one of my favorite pitchers over the last 2, or Michael Wacha, excuse me. Michael Wacha's in a good enough spot here, though, I think, where he can step up and keep the A's in check. So I'm going to play under 8.5 in Royals Athletics. And some of that is because I don't think Severino is as bad as those numbers suggest. Shout out Donnie Rightside on Moneyline this afternoon. He was telling me that Peralta and Fetty looked like it could have a game with some juice, that over 7.5. I'm going to play it not only with the backing of some of the numbers Donnie brought to the table, but also a nice double fade spot. Each guy didn't give up a run in their most recent outing. Rare for these two pitchers on the season. I think one could be blown up, give up a 6 spot there. You don't need much from the other team. Let's go over the 7.5 in Brewers Cardinals. And then my favorite bet on the baseball board is Mariners money line. I think Luis Castillo is being a little bit disrespected at a -112 here. I understand that the Guardians have the better record right now than the Seattle Mariners, but it's a team that's under 500 on the road. In fact, their 16-17 road record is the same record as the Mariners have at home, but I think the Mariners can swing that. I think Luis Castillo is a better pitcher than Gavin Williams, and I think Luis Castillo has been excellent so far at home, against really anybody for the Seattle Mariners, and giving up 4 earned runs in his most recent outing in a trip to L.A. Again, it's an opportunity to bounce back for Luis Castillo at a -112 on the money line. Give me the Mariners. That's where my baseball straight-up card lies right now. The one other piece that I played on that baseball board does come on a Friday the 13th special, a Freaky Friday, if you will, which is Freddie Freeman for 2+ RBI at +550. Our boys in the back got involved, sticking to the number 13, SGA's rebounds plus assists. I really like that play from Casino Chris. Yarnell does back the Portland Timbers. Checks the box for me. That's Freaky Friday if an MLS pick's making the card there. He's going to go with the Timbers. Also, I will let people know, you may find yourself in the mix soccer style more than you were anticipating when the Club World Cup gets underway. There are a lot of teams that are going to be in this that people are going to be interested in getting involved with. And I think one of the biggest draws of this tournament is the potential for Inter Miami, Lionel Messi, Luis Suarez. Who else have they added? Is Jordi Alba still knocking it around there? Busquets still knocking it around? If those guys can get themselves into a big matchup, right? They're going to play Porto within their group. But here are some other teams that are going to be in that tournament. Atletico Madrid, PSG just won the Champions League, Bayern Munich, Chelsea, Inter, Dortmund, Juventus, Man City, Real Madrid. You have got, LAFC's in there. Flamingo's out there. Shout out my guy JP. Little Fla-Flu rivalry. Shout out to the Fla group getting in there. I have my jersey at home. I'd have to rock it next game when they play Chelsea. But look, all I'm saying is you've got enough in this Club World Cup. It's going to, NBA's about to be going away. Hockey's about to be going away. I think the soccer is going to be a little bit more part of the bettor's diet, because this is going to be one of those things where you're like, hold on a second, what, Messi's playing today? Kylian Mbappe's playing today? Haaland's playing today? All right, let me get in the mix, and I think those are going to be some, I think it's something to keep your eyes on, is what I will say out there. We're taking a break. We're coming back with you, a check-in at the U.S. Open here on SportsGrid.
I'm with you in that you're going to have to take calculated risks. And that's what Leon Rose has been about since he's been here. And he's been measured. He hasn't been gung-ho in terms of mortgaging this franchise's future for immediate gains. They have had a prudent approach, and you're going to have to roll the dice in certain respects to get to that top level. And you're right, Donnie, when you look at next season, all things considered, you hope that they're healthy, and if they roll over, say, 85 to 90% of this roster, this is a top 3 team in the East. With Boston coming down, Milwaukee is going to come down, and so you have to figure it's going to be Indiana, the Knicks, the Cleveland Cavaliers in some sort of order in the preseason rankings. And so where they go from here, Jason Kidd is obviously the hot name right now. Both sides are interested from what we've heard in terms of Kidd and the New York Knicks. Is he that championship caliber coach to take the Knicks there?
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Here we go at Oakmont. Let's start with the course. What do we know about this course? How long is the rough, and does course history come into effect for you this week?
The U.S. Open has always been billed as the most difficult test of golf there is on the planet. And I tell you what, it's often labeled as the most difficult golf course in the world is Oakmont.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
Live with you right here. It is Game Time Decisions on this Friday, a Friendship Friday. Fellas in the back, all right? 3-man weave, if you will. Louisville, Oregon State's going to start in just a minute, over 9.5 in the college baseball action. We saw Coastal beat Arizona already today, covering the run line 7-4. Gunnar Henderson, 2+ hit run RBI. Stephen Kwan, 2+ hit run RBI. We got a plus 388 number there. Let's talk a little U.S. Open. So, Scotty Scheffler at one point today was like T54. And And it felt very much so like Scotty was completely out. Right now, he being Scotty Scheffler, has the 4th best odds to win this tournament. And I'm not saying the plus 800 is a great number. I'm not saying run to it, but I don't think it's an outrage. I don't think it's a terrible number. Like, I thought the plus 650 that Scotty was positioned at while being 9 shots off the lead yesterday felt more offensive than the plus 800 while he is 7 shots off the lead right now. I say that because evaluating right now what we've seen through almost 2 full days of golf, and it's not done just yet, but this course is playing as now seemingly hard as everybody thought. All right? We got a plus 35 sitting out there right now. We have 6 or 7 golfers 20 over. Shane Lowry, 17 over. Justin Rose, 13 over. Justin Thomas, 12. Sepp Straka, 11. Big dog Bryson DeChambeau is going to finish missing the cut at 10 over. So did Neiman. Nightmare for a lot of these guys, right? It feels like... So sometimes you say, like, hey, listen, I just want a guy that's, in the race, playing consistently, right? I almost now feel like the winner, I want someone who has already had their bad round, right? Where you look at Hovland, I think is probably the best example on this par 70 course, which doesn't feel like it should be a par 70, but fine. Who shot a 71 in round 1 and a 68 in round 2, and a part of me goes, the 74, the 75 may still await him. Where, for Scotty Scheffler, for example, he shot the 73, and maybe he's already gotten that out of the way. John Rahm shot a 75 today. Maybe he's already gotten that out of the way. Right? Xander Schauffele, for, example, who ended up shooting 4 over today, right? Xander had a 4-hole stretch. His first 2 holes today, his last 2 holes yesterday, where he was 4 under. So he's 10 over outside of those 4 consecutive holes. But he's here. He's going to make the cut, seemingly. I'm almost now feeling as if that is... I don't know if consistency is obtainable on this golf course. I'm right now of the mind, and this does not qualify for a single golfer who is, let's see right now, inside, who's T9 or better, right? How many golfers have shot a 73 or worse? Brooks Koepka, Siwoo today, likely. And Tristan Lawrence probably today. Like, those may be the guys that jump off the page. We're going to talk to Brady Cannon in about 15 minutes and get his thoughts. I'm very interested on how he is right now evaluating this tournament. But I see Sam Burns, and the 5 under that he gave himself obviously is monstrous, and he's one of just 3 golfers under par. But is Sam Burns going to be under par heading into Sunday? Based on what we've seen at this tournament, probably not. And that then will make it incredibly difficult to win this tournament. He is presently booked as the favorite at plus 330, Hovland plus 550, JJ Spawn is at 7-1, and Scotty's 8-1 price is the last price of anyone that is not 10-1 or better. So it gives you an idea where things stack up. We're going to take a break. We're going to come on back. We're going to reset the NBA Finals for you and talk a little Conn Smythe following an evened up series after another overtime winner on SportsGrid.
I'm with you in that you're going to have to take calculated risks. And that's what Leon Rose has been about since he's been here. And he's been measured. He hasn't been gung-ho in terms of mortgaging this franchise's future for immediate gains. They have had a prudent approach, and you're going to have to roll the dice in certain respects to get to that top level. And you're right, Donnie, when you look at next season, all things considered, you hope that they're healthy, and if they roll over, say, 85 to 90% of this roster, this is a top 3 team in the East. With Boston coming down, Milwaukee's going to come down, and so you have to figure it's going to be Indiana, the Knicks, the Cleveland Cavaliers in some sort of order in the preseason rankings. And so where they go from here, Jason Kidd is obviously the hot name right now. Both sides are interested from what we've heard in terms of Kidd and the New York Knicks. Is he that championship caliber coach to take the Knicks there?
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
Here we go at Oakmont. Let's start with the course. What do we know about this course? How long is the rough, and does course history come into effect for you this week?
The U.S. Open has always been billed as the most difficult test of golf there is on the planet. And I tell you what, it's often labeled as the most difficult golf course in the world is Oakmont.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
Back with you on SportsGrid. It's Game Time Decisions. Kevin Walsh with you here. By the way, up until 8:30 tonight, Coach James Young will join us at 8 o'clock as we get you ready for the NBA Finals action. As I look right now, a 6-point spread across the board, except in one spot where we are seeing a 6.5, and a total right now between 226.5 and 228, so a little bit of movement. For Oklahoma City, the Game 3 loss was a loss that I know surprised a lot of people, and some put an eye on SGA. Gotta say, you were here on Wednesday. Best bet, under the 33.5. It's not fair to ask Shea to score 35 in every single game. He was due for a performance to that degree. But now the pressure is on, and now Shea Gilgeous-Alexander has to step up. Here is what Shea said following the Game 3 loss to the Indiana Pacers.
Shea, what do you guys do as competitors here for the next 48 hours? I know you probably wish you could get right back out there and play those guys again right now, but how do you win these next 48 hours?
Yeah, learn from your mistakes, rest, recovery, do everything we can to be a better basketball team come next game. Yeah, I would say those things.
Here's the interesting thing for what is kind of the rare generic answer from Shea, right? We usually hear, sometimes you'll see him take a beat. Give you, really thoughtful answer, right? Rest, recovery, be better, learn from our mistakes. What is one mistake that I feel I am consistently seeing out of Oklahoma City? Not playing the double bigs basically at all in this series. The fact that Mark Daigneault had a starting lineup in round 1 and round 2 and round 3 that didn't change. A starting lineup he obviously used as much as he could in the regular season when everybody was available. And a starting lineup of Hartenstein, Holmgren, Dort, SGA, and Jalen Williams that has yet to play 1 minute together in this NBA Finals. That might be a mistake to learn from. I think it is on the board that within the next hour, when we get that OKC starting lineup, Mark Daigneault makes the change and goes back to Isaiah Hartenstein in that starting lineup. At the moment, though, Dags has not tipped his hand around that idea. Here is what the Thunder's head coach said following their loss.
I think it's just, attacking every day, attacking every rep, attacking every possession, and trying to make that a habit, and understanding the compounding nature of that and the impact of that when you do that. And these are guys that have seen success taking that approach. So, when you do something and then you find success doing it, it reinforces it and it breeds commitment. So the guys have done a great job of building that muscle over a long period of time now. And this is why it's important, because being down 2-1 in a series, it can have emotions associated with it, but, dragging those into the next experience aren't going to help anybody. You have to, and being up 2-1 for Indiana, dragging that in isn't going to help them either. So you got to compete when the ball goes up in the air, and we've made a habit of that, and we have to double down on that again tomorrow.
That final word or phrase, double down. I almost wonder if there is some uncomfortableness for OKC, not just because they are down 2-1 in the finals, but this is a team who would be aware of what this loss would look like. The reality is any loss for the Thunder in any of these rounds would have been a monstrous referendum on all of these players and coaches. Fair or not, it's the case. When you are a historical level favorite, it puts an additional level of pressure on you if you are not answering the bell. And I do think to some degree, the opposite end of that has freed up this Indiana Pacer team. And trust me, Indiana is incredibly aware that they are not the favorites in this. In fact, don't trust me. Here's Rick Carlisle, their head coach, saying as much.
That's the challenge before us right now, is to maintain, and it's got to be a killer edge to beat these guys. I mean, we're going to be an underdog in every game in this series. It was 10.5 in the first two games, 5.5 these last night, and then tomorrow. It's a daunting challenge. Anything less than a total grit mindset, and we just don't have a chance.
You'll have to see Carlisle talking some spreads there. A lot of times when guys step away from the sideline, they opt for a job in media. I'm just saying, Carlisle, I think the seat is open, sir. Although it doesn't seem like Rick Carlisle will be walking away from the game anytime soon, as he right now has to be the belt holder for best coach in basketball. And that understanding, I think, of who they are for the Indiana Pacers is so important to getting them to this spot. And I think when you think about the understanding of who the Pacers are, you can tie that into the understanding of who Tyrese Halliburton is. Everybody really frustrated with Tyrese through the first two games of this series. Because game number one, right, if it was not for the game winner, then it would have been graded a lot differently. But that game winner happened, and it was excellent. I understand that a lot of his scoring in game number two was done in the fourth quarter. I will stand on it. I thought he was very good in the third quarter, and that's what led to the good fourth quarter. He was not good in the first half of that game, though, flatly. But Halliburton answered the bell and was much better. Well, actually, was pretty excellent in game three. Timely, with 4 made threes, 22 points, 9 rebounds, 11 assists. And I think Halliburton, while staying true to himself, while the Pacers stay true to themselves, I think it's a guy who clearly, though, understands the opportunity that is in front of his group.
We got a few people in our organization who have won a championship or played in the NBA Finals, and that's all that we consistently hear about is don't take this moment for granted. Enjoy this moment, and you want to be able to put all your cards on the table, play as hard as you can. You don't want to have any regrets at the end of it. So that's the biggest thing we talk about as a group, and that's how it should be.
And I think that is something that we have seen from the Pacers, and it is why, because people still, I think, occasionally don't realize this, they have led 3-1 in every single series they've played in. This is not a team who gets a win and they're like, sick. We don't even need this next game. The Pacers do not enter the game tonight going, house money. No. In fact, if the Pacers don't win tonight, they then have to win against the Thunder on the road again. That'll be really tough to do. Really, really tough to do. The Pacers probably go to favorites to win this series if they win tonight. They go to plus 400 to win the series if they lose tonight. We'll be right back here. We're live on Game Time Decisions.
Enter into the magical world of McLuck.com, where even the smallest of spins can win real cash prizes. Adventure into over 1,000 of the best Vegas-style slot games. So what are you waiting for? Unlock your free welcome offer today. Join the fun where winners play and players win.
Two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this once? Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune in to Game Time Decisions weekdays on SportsGrid.
The game is on. The stakes are high. But the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that riff. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
Just a little flyer, couple of thoughts.
18.5 point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. It's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Did you know sportsbooks tend to draw up tighter bet lines for events that get even more bettors, like championship games or major matchups? My tip, try betting on less popular sports. You might have a better shot at beating those odds. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
Game Time Decisions live with you on a Friday night. And the U.S. Open almost finishing up round number 2. We get Brady Cannon join us, though, to talk a little U.S. Open. And Brady, listen, if at any point we're distracting you from rooting in Patrick Cantlay, don't mind us. You do your thing. We're rooting it in with you.
All right, sounds good. Yeah, I'm trying to get him to just make par on the 18th hole. That'll win a head-to-head matchup for me, and it may keep him around for the weekend as well. I believe it will, and that'll allow me to be still alive for some finish position markets and that type of thing. The 18th hole is, of course, a very tough hole. Which hole isn't tough out here at Oakmont, it seems. But now the folks that are at 7 under, including Cantlay, you've also got Hideki Matsuyama at 7 over, Patrick Reed, Harris English, some popular guys before this championship for a lot of people. They should make it to the weekend. Right now, they're all tied for 62nd which would put him on the wrong side of the cut line. But you've got a handful of people that are still out on the golf course. I don't think they're going to finish this tonight, Kevin. Looks like they've got about an hour of daylight left in the eastern part of the country. And you've got some guys with still a handful of holes left to play. I believe they'll probably have to finish it up in the morning. I also believe that the 7 over pars will probably make it. They will fit into that top 60 in ties. And that also includes Rory McIlroy, who finished with a little bit of a flurry.
Well, that's I know Rory didn't look like he was having a lot of fun out there. I wonder if for him he's like, no, please don't make me keep playing this course because of how difficult it has been for everybody, which has me thinking something, Brady, as it pertains to the outright market. And please tell me if you think I'm out of my mind. But I almost now think if I'm going to get involved with someone in the outright market, I want one of their first 2 rounds to be bad. 3 over par at least, because it almost doesn't seem like anyone is leaving this course over 4 rounds without at least a 73, 74, 75 under their belt. And that kind of does put my eyes on Scotty, Rahm, Brooks. Yep. I want someone who is here, kind of near the top, frustrated with one of their rounds, but still in the mix.
Yeah, no, I think it's a great call because it's hard to fathom anybody going through here relatively unscathed, to your point, right? Now, you look at some of these people on the leaderboard. I have in mind personally Russell Henley, who, by the way, is the only player in the top 10 of the leaderboard that is ranked in the top 10 in the world. Now, we know those world golf rankings are a little shaky at this point with LIV and what have you. And Adam Scott, the only guy on the leaderboard there that has a major championship to his credit. So a lot of newbies, a lot of guys that this is unfamiliar territory for. And you have a lot of those big names lurking in that territory where you're talking about with Rahm and Scotty, Colin Morikawa, Jordan Spieth is right there. You wonder if those guys are going to make a move. I mentioned Henley. He's been very consistent so far. 2 rounds right around par. Ben Griffin, 2 rounds of 70. Those have been the steady eddies. You wonder if that bad round is coming for them over the weekend. I hear what you're saying, but part of me wants a guy who's been very consistent as well.
Yeah, I get it, right? And that's why I wonder if maybe I'm overthinking this whole thing. But I think as somebody who, at the end of the first day, felt, yeah, this isn't Scotty's tournament. And it during the middle of his round went, you know how we get sometimes. I knew it. I knew this guy wasn't going to perform at the U.S. Open. And now I'm sitting here looking at the 8-1, 7 shots off the lead, thinking that's actually not a bad number.
Yeah. It's probably not too bad because you just expect at some point he's going to find that gear, right? What's interesting, though, is it seems like it's a bizarro world here and everything's kind of flipped on its head. Scottie Scheffler's best metric right now, the skill set in which he is performing the best, is putting. And that's not typical Scottie Scheffler. No. He's gaining nearly a stroke and a half on the field with the putter, and everything else, the work off the tee, the irons, the around the greens, the tee to green, it's all been okay. It's all in plus territory, but it's nothing spectacular. He's barely, it's like less than a half a stroke that he's gaining on the field in those other categories, whereas the putter has been pretty hot and kind of keeping him halfway alive here, So we haven't seen it yet, Kevin. And you and I talked about it yesterday as well. Maybe this just isn't his major. He finished 40-something last year at Pinehurst. No world number one in since the advent of the world golf rankings, which is probably the last 40 some years or so, doesn't really count Jack Nicklaus in that era. But since the advent of the world golf rankings, no number one player in the world has ever won the U.S. Open other than guess who? Tiger Woods. So, if you believe in history at all, Scotty's not going to get this done for a minute.
Can I tell you, though, so this is the thing with Scotty that's pulling me in both directions. It's one of the big mistakes I made in recent kind of sports betting thought process. The UConn team, Brady, that went back-to-back, I wrote off preseason and all year. No one's gone back-to-back since Florida, 04-05. And then you kind of, and it's too late, the aha moment of, oh, yeah, well, they're really good, and maybe someone is due to go back-to-back. And then, it kind of, right, you smack yourself on the, oh, of course, right? Of course this team went back-to-back. And that's kind of the push-pull sometimes with Scotty Scheffler. If you tell me no one's done it since Tiger, and Scotty has a chance to do it, there's a part of me that goes, well, he's going to do it because that's the level that guy's been playing at. We're going to keep Brady around. I want to key on a couple of extra guys. Hovland's up there, who anytime he's up there, I think that really, really fascinates me. J.J. Spawn did enough to hang around, and Sam Burns is currently the favorite to win this tournament, which is not what I think many people were expecting through the first 36 holes of this tournament. So we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back with you and Brady here on SportsGrid.
I'm with you in that you're going to have to take calculated risks. And that's what Leon Rose has been about since he's been here. And he's been measured. He hasn't been gung-ho in terms of mortgaging this franchise's future for immediate gains. They have had a prudent approach, and you're going to have to roll the dice in certain respects to get to that top level. And you're right, Donnie, when you look at next season, all things considered, you hope that they're healthy, and if they roll over, say, 85 to 90% of this roster, this is a top 3 team in the East. With Boston coming down, Milwaukee's going to come down, and so you have to figure it's going to be Indiana, the Knicks, the Cleveland Cavaliers in some sort of order in the preseason rankings. And so where they go from here, Jason Kidd is obviously the hot name right now. Both sides are interested from what we've heard in terms of Kidd and the New York Knicks. Is he that championship caliber coach to take the Knicks there?
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Here we go at Oakmont. Let's start with the course. What do we know about this course? How long is the rough, and does course history come into effect for you this week?
The U.S. Open has always been billed as the most difficult test of golf there is on the planet. And I tell you what, it's often labeled as the most difficult golf course in the world is Oakmont.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
Game Time Decisions is back with you here on a Friday night. We're joined by Brady Cannon. We're talking a little U.S. Open. And Brady, let me just go right away. Victor Hovland, 1 under. I'm almost surprised that Hovland isn't the favorite just based on name value and the lack of golfers that are right now even par. What do you make of Hovland here as he is now currently sitting 3rd in this tournament?
Yeah, I tend to agree with you. I kind of like him better than Sam Burns right now, just given what we have seen through the first 2 days. Burns, of course, comes off of that round of 62 at the Canadian Open, which was incredible, where he almost won that thing, went to a playoff, and, the wheels kind of came off in that playoff. Ryan Fox wins it. He comes back here, bounces right back, shoots the low round of the tournament. In fact, I believe the lowest round at a U.S. Open at Oakmont since Lauren Roberts and Johnny Miller, shoots a 65 today. And that's what kind of worries me, because when you go so historically low, typically it's very difficult to follow that up. You talk about, possibly one round being in the bag at some point over the course of 4 days. Maybe that bad round is coming for Sam Burns off of that especially low round today. Meanwhile, Victor Hovland's been pretty darn consistent, a 71 and a 68, and he's not putting well. You know how we like to kind of lean on that. He's number one in this field in strokes gained tee to green. He's number two in strokes gained approach. He is 110th in putting. Now, he's not typically a great putter, so he's probably going to either stay in neutral here or get a little bit better. He probably can't get a whole lot worse as far as the putting. But if the rest of his game stays the same, Hovland is the guy that I kind of have my eye on right now. Burns is obviously in really good form, but you wonder if he can follow up what he did today with another round of that, of that style, going that low. And you mentioned it before the break. JJ Spawn, man, pretty darn impressive to hang around. As a relative. I mean, he's a successful PGA Tour player, but kind of the journeyman role. Maybe playing the best golf of his career this year, goes to a playoff with Rory McIlroy at the Players Championship, but shoots 4 under, bogey-free round to lead the U.S. Open and to come back and basically hold serve, not too shabby by Mr. Spawn.
Can I ask you about Rory? Because I actually didn't even think he was going to make it. Maybe I'm getting a little over-infatuated with good closes to a day, but I don't know about winning. I feel with someone of Rory's caliber, let me see what the Rory price is to see if this is...
I think he's going to fall apart over the weekend, Kevin.
Do you? Okay.
And you mentioned, does he really want to play this golf course some more? I'm not so sure he does. You kind of feel like he made the cut, and that's prideful.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't embarrass himself, but his game has been very erratic.
Yeah.
I still think he is kind of worn out emotionally about what he did at Augusta, and I don't blame him at all. That's not negative thinking on my part. Hey, if I was in that position, God, I'd be celebrating for a while too, and I'm not saying just celebrating. It's just the enormity of that moment to come back and reset and win another major championship, extremely difficult. So I wouldn't be surprised if he went further south over the weekend. I certainly wouldn't invest in him to use this as a springboard and all of a sudden, find his way into contention. I don't think it's going to happen. I'd certainly be more inclined to do that with Scotty than Rory.
I would certainly agree with. It is incredible, man. This guy won the Masters, right? And he had all that momentum, and he finally did it. And all the look-ahead major championships, he started to be like, oh, he might be the favorite here, or right?
Well, he's going to win the same season Grand Slam while we're at it, It's like, slow down, people. Hang on.
Now he's 65-1 to win this golf tournament.
Yeah.
Scotty Scheffler would have to have that 35, Brady, that Buddy has at the back right now to be 65-1 to win this tournament.
Yeah, you're right. And honestly, what's he? He's 9 shots off the pace. Is 65-1 really high enough? I'm not so sure. Again, I would be betting against him, and maybe I'll find a third round head-to-head matchup that looks attractive where I can go against him, because I think he made a little flurry there at the end, but I think he continues to go south here over the weekend.
I'm really interested to see. I'm interested in some of the round scores that they post as well for the weekend. Brady, really appreciate it. 3 straight days helping us get ready and get invested in the U.S. Open. We'll be right back with you here on SportsGrid.
I'm with you in that you're going to have to take calculated risks. And that's what Leon Rose has been about since he's been here. And he's been measured. He hasn't been gung-ho in terms of mortgaging this franchise's future for immediate gains. They have had a prudent approach, and you're going to have to roll the dice in certain respects to get to that top level. And you're right, Donnie, when you look at next season, all things considered, you hope that they're healthy, and if they roll over, say, 85 to 90% of this roster, this is a top 3 team in the East. With Boston coming down, Milwaukee's going to come down, and so you have to figure it's going to be Indiana, the Knicks, the Cleveland Cavaliers in some sort of order in the preseason rankings. And so where they go from here, Jason Kidd is obviously the hot name right now. Things that both sides are interested from what we've heard in terms of Kidd and the New York Knicks. Is he that championship caliber coach to take the Knicks there?
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Here we go at Oakmont. Let's start with the course. What do we know about this course? How long is the rough, and does course history come into effect for you this week?
The U.S. Open has always been billed as the most difficult test of golf there is on the planet. And I tell you what, it's often labeled as the most difficult golf course in the world is Oakmont.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
Thunder two-step, SGA 5 assists, Jalen Williams 5 assists. One of my favorite bets for this game number 4 tonight of NBA Finals action. That number between minus 105 and minus 110 at last look. But my best bet for this basketball game is on Aaron Nesmith at home, where the role players we've seen step up in this series. We saw it happen in Game 2. Caruso, Wiggins. We saw it happen in Game 3. McConnell, Mathurin. I think Nesmith steps up in a big way here at home for the Pacers. An environment. Yesterday we talked to Dustin Dopirak from the Indianapolis Star about. Here is what Dustin had to say around the Pacers' 2-1 series lead in the NBA Finals. Someone I imagine, though, has had a good pulse of this Pacers team is someone who covers them for the Indianapolis Star. That is Dustin Dopirak, who joins us now here on SportsGrid. And Dustin, can you just kind of take me through what it was like being in the building for that game last night and riding the wave of emotion? Because it wasn't a situation where the Pacers jumped all over OKC like a lot of people thought. Trailed early, got the halftime lead, trailed going into the fourth quarter, but found a way, the way they have all postseason long.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, I think you obviously saw when they fall behind early, you're thinking, okay, that's a bad sign, certainly when it's the first NBA Finals game in your arena in 25 years, because you expect that first punch to really carry you. You expect just the explosion of just joy and everything else that comes with a fan base that just hasn't seen this stage in 25 years to carry you and basically to just make that first punch for you. And when the Thunder were there to match that, you're like, okay, maybe this isn't they're not going to be able to ride this thing. What does this look like? But you saw their depth come through. The bench has been a weapon all year. It's not been as effective as it was last year, just at being good. I mean, this bench has been exhausting. I think that's what makes it more effective to the style of play that they have, is they just run at you more. But last year's team, I think, was just if you put last year's bench and just played 5-on-5 on this year's bench, last year's bench would win. But this group kind of wears you down more. But I think they just played like a nearly flawless second quarter. They won 40-20. They won that quarter 40-28. Didn't commit a turnover. And you saw TJ McConnell really get going and spark them with a couple of those, just backcourt turnovers where he just sits there and takes the inbound pass. And it just, if you're a team that lets that happen to you, it just rips your soul away. I mean, you have a play, you have an idea, and it's gone before you even started because you just missed TJ McConnell. And he's not only got a steal, he's got 2 points, or he's got an assist, and he's just turned the game. You saw Benedict Mathurin become what he can become. You haven't seen that necessarily consistently, but he's one of the best 2 one-on-one scorers they have. And, his ability to get to mid-range buckets, hit threes, stuff like that, and kind of get that going and continue that momentum obviously changed it. So then at that point, obviously you're in a dogfight the rest of the way, and it's shot for shot throughout the third quarter, early parts of the fourth quarter, and then you just saw them wear them down. That has been really the Pacers' secret weapon. Their secret sauce is that because they bring so much depth, because they bring so much pressure, because they run as much as they do, and they just keep just constant intensity on you and just keep wearing at you. The fourth quarter is where they shine because they're not tired and you are. You're exhausted because you're not used to playing the style and they are, and that's what wears them down. And that's what you saw from the Thunder. You saw them start to make mistakes, start to fade, start to not make shots. And that's when you kind of saw, obviously, combine that with the crowd, and then it's coming down on their heads. And it was just too big of a hole, ultimately, for the Thunder to dig out of down the stretch.
The high floor of the Indiana Pacers offense is something that no one seemingly else can really offer in the league, and it somewhat neutralizes the biggest strength that OKC has, which is the best defense in basketball, because it is seemingly impossible to hold down this Pacers team who has, they scored 65, 66 points, I think it was, in the second half of games 1 and game 2. They scored 32, as you mentioned, in the fourth quarter, and I still believe the biggest reason for that high floor, I guess between Carlisle and Halliburton, but on the court, is Tyrese Halliburton. There were calls for him to step up and answer the bell in game 3. I think 22, 9, and 11 likely checks that box. Do you feel, what was the adjustment, if you did see one, for Tyrese in game 3?
Yeah, I thought it was interesting. I mean, he was really open talking about strategy in this case. I mean, Halliburton is just such a fascinating basketball mind, and he's more willing than most to be real about, what he thinks is going wrong and what isn't. I mean, he kind of knows what he can get away with saying out loud, and I think he feels like there's a bar, basically like, you don't have to worry about saying this stuff out loud as much as some people think you do. And he was really honest, I think, with us in saying, like after game 2, it basically just said, like, I got too stale, kept doing the same thing. He said, I'm good at high pick and roll, but high pick and roll is bringing these guys into the paint, and they're loading up against this, and I really got to mix it up more. And he noticed, he was asked, how he was able to get a couple buckets late in game 2, and he was talking about just playing off the pitch, and he was sort of like kind of kicking it ahead to somebody, kind of with their back to the basket, and them kind of pitching it back to him, and that kind of allowed him to get some downhill action, and that he was having a hard time getting with high ball screens. And I think it was you really look at some of the buckets he got in game 2, it really required some really excellent off the ball execution, whether it was screening, whether it was movement, whether it was that kind of stuff. But it was also just mixing up the way they were attacking. And his view was, if you keep giving them the same thing, they're going to load up on you and they're going to square you up. And so you've got to be able to kind of keep them from doing that. You've got to make it difficult for them to know what you're going to do from play to play, and just not give them the same dose of everything. And so that's what they did. Basically, they did a good job of just playing out of different actions, making it difficult for the Thunder to square up what they were doing, and that just gave him some more space to operate. I thought it was just the intellectual part of this game was I think tough for him. I think he views the Thunder as a fascinating challenge. Going back to when they played in late March in Oklahoma City, he's like, that's the best team in the league. And I think he said on the ESPN interview with Malik Andrews, he said that's the best defense I've ever faced. And I think, and because they have so many defenders, I think he views it as such an intellectual challenge. And he looked at it as, okay, I've got to make a change there. It's not just about, I got to be this aggressive, or I have to take this many shots, or I have to carry the team or whatever. But like in terms of what I'm getting this team into, in terms of the type of actions I'm creating, when I'm bringing the ball down the floor, or when I'm kind of directing traffic, I'm being too predictable, and I have to be less predictable, and I have to figure out what that looks like. And I thought he did a great job of that in game 3.
Here with Dustin Dopirak of the Indianapolis Star, covering the Indiana Pacers, who are now up 2-1 in the NBA Finals. And one thing that is now held true for the Pacers, going back to deep into the regular season, but certainly in this postseason, they have not lost consecutive games. That in the postseason is also true of the Oklahoma City Thunder. Dustin, how much pressure do you think is on Indiana to protect home court, which they stole in game 1, and take game 4?
I mean, a lot. I mean, I think, they're trying not to let it feel like pressure. I mean, I think they're looking at it as they know this is a big. I think they go into every single game against the Thunder thinking this is the best team in the league, and you have to be prepared for them to be the best team in the league. And that is your primary focus, is realizing that like you can't make a lot of mistakes, but it doesn't matter what game it is or where you are or what the scenario is. You have to imagine like this team is ready to get you at all times. And they're fully aware that the Thunder are as good at adjustments as they are. And they know it just from game 1 to game 2. They saw a significant difference in the way the Thunder operated, just with how much sharper they were in game 2. And so they know to expect a change. I mean, basically, like there's really, I mean, and they show a lot of mutual respect in general with whoever they're playing, especially when it comes to playoff teams and top teams. And Carlisle goes out of his way to do that, even if they're playing like the 76ers when, with Embiid and Georgia and everybody out, and they're playing like G League dudes and guys that they just literally found off a scrap heap to keep a team going in March. They're still talking about them that way, but they really talk about the Thunder like this is something that is remarkable, both from a playing and a coaching standpoint. So they're aware of this, but they know. I think they do know, but it's clear like this becomes a lot harder if it's 2-2 and they go to game 5 and they go out to Oklahoma City and have to try to win that game there, because they could very easily fall behind 3-2 and coming back, and you've got to win both games, basically 6 and 7, and have them win twice at Oklahoma City, and that's not easy to do.
Yeah, it's certainly not, but so far they're in a great position. Dustin, we appreciate it so much. We'll be right back here on Game Time Decisions after this break.
Dialing it back to his old days with St. Louis and Arizona. Buy or sell, Goldie will finish top 7 in fantasy first baseman.
No, I'm going to say no. I think he'll fall off. Older player here, he'll be top 10, but not top 7 here. Top 10, I would say yeah, I'd buy it. Top 7, I'm going to say no here. I think he'll put up decent numbers here. Not as good as he was. I don't think he's going to bat 340, 350 all year long.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
I'm with you in that you're going to have to take calculated risks. And that's what Leon Rose has been about since he's been here. And he's been measured. He hasn't been gung-ho in terms of mortgaging this franchise's future for immediate gains. They have had a prudent approach, and you're going to have to roll the dice in certain respects to get to that top level. And you're right, Donnie, when you look at next season, all things considered, you hope that they're healthy, and if they roll over, say, 85 to 90% of this roster, this is a top 3 team in the East. With Boston coming down, Milwaukee is going to come down, and so you have to figure it's going to be Indiana, the Knicks, the Cleveland Cavaliers in some sort of order in the preseason rankings. And so where they go from here, Jason Kidd is obviously the hot name right now. Both sides are interested from what we've heard in terms of Kidd and the New York Knicks. Is he that championship caliber coach to take the Knicks there?
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Every 5 days, it's really exciting when Skeens pitches, and it's terrible watching him pitch because every time he pitches, they don't score.
Having him hit the lineup probably would actually help when he pitches. There's no way to do it because you can't, but it's beyond frustrating. And the numbers will tell you, the books have adjusted.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
Live to right here on SportsGrid, Kevin Walsh on this Friday night. And there is only one thing, I believe, on the ledger that we told the people we would get to. We haven't just yet. We waited for Dave Showerpen to get here. The consig. Dave, I want to get right to it. The Conn Smythe. It is my favorite aspect of this Stanley Cup final, and I do not say that to downplay how great the hockey has been, how great the overtimes have been. I am not trying to slight it at all. Sam Bennett is plus 140. Leon jumped Connor McDavid. They attached rocks to the feet of the Bobrovsky price, threw him in the ocean. He's 65-1. I think Dave's muted, by the way. Check Panther.
How about that?
Consig,
yes.
Talk to me about what you're seeing right now in the Conn Smythe race.
It's a really fun market to price, okay? This would be one where we would have a field day, me and you in the room. Because as Bobrovsky gave up the third goal, we'd have just said, you know what? Do what you just said. He's out. That's it. Cross him off the list. Now, Draisaitl doing what he did jumps him up. Absolutely. McDavid doesn't have a goal. I mean, he's getting assists and he's still an impactful player, but he doesn't have a goal in the Stanley Cup Finals. So, we don't have to worry about the goalies on either side. It's decided for one of those four guys at the top. That's it. And really, Marchand is there, but he's not there, right? Like none of those guys. Kachuk scoring a couple goals last night certainly brought him back to a number that was like tasty. But come on, we can't entertain that, can we?
Well, all right. So just hold on. Just hear me out, all right? Just hear me out. This race is a mess. We would agree, right?
Yeah.
So if I tell you Florida wins one of these games in a shutout, are you sure Bob is done? If they win this series and he only gives up 2 goals a game the rest of the way, are you sure he's out of it? He started every game. He was heavily in the race last year. I'm not. I don't think he should be 65-1.
Wow.
Am I? You think I'm nuts?
No, I don't think you're nuts. I never do. Although, sometimes you look at things differently. Yes. I mean, fine. That's okay. I don't think there's going to be a game where he's only going to give up a couple goals. I mean, he's not getting a shutout, Kevin. That would be the biggest upset of anything we've seen so far. Now, he only gave up 1 goal in that one game. Okay. But they got 2 games in Edmonton, 1 game in Florida. I will be shocked if there's a shutout by anybody, even Picard. No way.
So can I hold on? So let me throw this at you, though, Dave.
Yeah.
I think that's fair. The price for Bobrovsky to record a shutout in this series.
Okay.
Now, I'm not saying it's a fair number, but it is plus 330.
Wow.
If he does, you agree with me, he has a legit chance then to still win this award.
If it's a low scoring game, it has to be 1-0 or 2-0.
I get your point. If Bennett puts in 2,
right, then he takes the steam and they chop up the vote or the steam.
Can I tell you, I've realized the funniest possible thing is Florida wins in 7 and Leon wins the Conn Smythe.
Oh,
it's without a doubt the funniest possible thing.
Is that possible again? Where Florida wins it and they give it to the best guy in the other team 2 years in a row?
Different guys.
Oh my!
Different guys.
You can't even make that up. That would be funny. Somebody put it in the notes because if that happens, this clip goes viral.
Yeah. Just store it in the back pocket. That's all I'll say. Look, the hockey's been a treat, but the NBA steps up tonight. Look, I don't mind the breaks that these series have, but it feels like a treat when you get the quick turnaround like we get tonight, Dave. OKC laying a number they've yet to cover on the road. What are you hearing around this game?
That OKC's going to win. Okay. But that's 6. That 6 is very, very it makes you think, gives you pause, makes you go, I don't know. OKC could win this game by 4, and then, again, they don't cover another number on the road, which again they haven't done, like you just said. The total, again, we're going under. It's starting to steam up over. They drove it down. Now it's coming back up closer to tip. I have no idea, Kevin. Dort over PRA. How about that?
Whoa! Whoa! Whoa!
Yeah.
Where'd this come from?
Yeah, little discussions, little things like that. We're just throwing that out there. That's been a popular discussion in the content space. Yeah, Dort PRA over. Wow, you got it?
Oh, wow. No, not at
Okay.
all.
Take a look.
Not at
12
all.
and
Would
a
you
half. You can find that number, 12 and a half.
would you
Somewhere
like
there.
to know? Would you like to know where? I got a best bet and I have another bet. Which one do you want? We probably only have time for one right now. Dave's going to stick around.
Yeah, well, give me the best bet right now, and then we'll do the other one after.
Aaron Naismith, 12 points. What do you think?
Over.
Does it speak to you? Oh, he likes it.
Over.
Oh, he really likes it.
Over.
Oh, he really likes it.
Yeah,
He
forget
likes it.
about it.
Here's
Yeah,
what I
I don't even need to see. Yep.
Yeah. Like with these finals, like we're getting in the weeds and then we're in the big spots. Like we're finding the ebbs and flows of this one, Dave. I'll tell people this. If you are on a total in this game, root in your bet. If you are not, root in the under. Because game 5, I'll see at the 220.5 that they're dying to hang. They're dying to drop this total. This game goes
go that low.
well.
It won't go that low.
But Dave, I had up those playoff moves. A man can dream. A man can dream.
I'm with you in that you're going to have to take calculated risks. And that's what Leon Rose has been about since he's been here. And he's been measured. He hasn't been gung-ho in terms of mortgaging this franchise's future for immediate gains. They have had a prudent approach, and you're going to have to roll the dice in certain respects to get to that top level. And you're right, Donnie, when you look at next season, all things considered, you hope that they're healthy, and if they roll over, say, 85 to 90% of this roster, this is a top 3 team in the East. With Boston coming down, Milwaukee's going to come down, and so you have to figure it's going to be Indiana, the Knicks, the Cleveland Cavaliers in some sort of order in the preseason rankings. And so where they go from here, Jason Kidd is obviously the hot name right now. Things that both sides are interested from what we've heard in terms of Kidd and the New York Knicks. Is he that championship caliber coach to take the Knicks there?
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Here we go at Oakmont. Let's start with the course. What do we know about this course? How long is the rough, and does course history come into effect for you this week?
The U.S. Open has always been billed as the most difficult test of golf there is on the planet. And I tell you what, it's often labeled as the most difficult golf course in the world is Oakmont.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
Game Time Decisions is live with you on a Friday night, and it's not going to be live for only 6 more minutes, but 36 more minutes, as we will be with you here until tip-off of the NBA Finals. Coach James Young will join me. Dave Sharapan, I safely assume Consig and the Knicks for in-game live tonight?
Oh, yeah. We'll be there. Me and Wetzel pick it up right after you and JY drop it off. So we'll try to keep and match the energy level for another hour and a half after you, and then we'll hand it off to Gabe and Cam. So usual, West Coast baseball for us, we'll have the basketball on, and we'll be watching it and reacting to that. But Yankees, Red Sox tonight.
Yeah.
Yankees plus money. Were you all over that today?
Played under.
Nice.
Crochet and Yarbo
Crochet.
each
No
got
joke.
rocked by these teams. Same matchup. I thought that actually made some sense. Here's what we'll do because we've got Dave with us. Let's just run through all of it. All right? We'll see if anything catches Dave's eye. So best bets. Aaron Neesmith for me over the 11.5 points, as well as then the Thunder two-step, J-Dub and SGA each for 5 assists. We will go over those a lot more with Coach, of course, in the next 30. Crew best bets, even if some of these are underway, just to, point of reference for everybody. A Royals team total over for Sam Y, the sports guy. And then Casino Chris, Devers, Lindor, Corbin Carroll, all for a hit-run RBI. Don't be scared to root that in. Now, today is a Friday. We're not usually here on a Friday, Dave, so we wanted to give the people a little bit of friendship. We wanted to give them good vibes and smiles. So, a little, three-man weave to some degree with Stephen Kwan, 2+ hit-run RBI. Gunnar Henderson, 2+ hit-run RBI. Neither of those will matter if they don't find runs in Louisville, Oregon State. That number 9.5. No one has scored yet. I am pretty sure actually what's going on right now is Max Scherzer's not injured, Garrett Cole's not injured. They are currently pitching in this game. Nobody can do anything as I am watching in the College World Series. But it is not just a Friendship Friday. It's a Freaky Friday. It's Friday the 13th. So, Freaky Friday, Freddie Freeman, 2+ RBIs at plus 550. A lot of Fs. I thought it worked well. Chris Koski going for the 13 rebounds plus assists for SGA. It's an MLS pick. Outrageous. Timbers make the card on a 3-way money line, Dave. Anything jump off for you?
Who approved that? Who approved the Timbers play? That's usually, that is really Freaky Friday. Sam went above and beyond with that one. Yeah, Freeman has really good career numbers against Webb tonight. Dodgers are a gigantic favorite. If the Giants win, they're tied with the Dodgers for the NL West. Who would have thought that was coming? That'll be a good game. I like your Freeman one. Kovsky, not sure. I think SGA has a big game scoring tonight. It's his game to take over, and that one's obviously the price is reflective. It's a coin flip, so not sure about that. But it's great to have you on a Friday, especially after last night in the ice nap. We have to recognize.
That's a good point by you. It's good. It's a great point, Dave. Now listen, I snap part one. I snap part one. People were like, "Whoa, K-Dubs, and I got a little crazy, but it got there." I snap part two. Listen, Dave knows my confidence meter. It wasn't beaming. This guy Barkov, I think he just got another point. They just told me in my ear. This guy was on fire. And I snap part two. We didn't even have to watch the third period, much less the overtime, if we didn't want to. Now we were in the mix a little bit actually, but. Now, I will say this, Dave. I did bet the Panthers in overtime. I really thought I actually thought that they were going to score within like the first 5 minutes.
After they tied it with 19 seconds left, I agree. That was a huge win by Edmonton. We're going 7. So you'll have multiple chances for the ice snap. I think we're going 7.
If we go 7, over half another overtime game.
I don't want to say it's not going to happen. I think it's going to happen. This has been one of the best Stanley Cup finals ever. I think we'll see another overtime game.
Zag, I don't think we do. I'm not hating. I've been very kind to the ice. Ice has been kind to me. The ice has been kind. It's one of those things where you're like, no ice on tonight? Give me some KHL, man. Right. Let's figure something out here. Consig, great to have you. Go nowhere. We're in the mix with Coach James Young, NBA final style on SportsGrid.
I'm with you in that you're going to have to take calculated risks. And that's what Leon Rose has been about since he's been here. And he's been measured. He hasn't been gung-ho in terms of mortgaging this franchise's future for immediate gains. They have had a prudent approach, and you're going to have to roll the dice in certain respects to get to that top level. And you're right, Donnie, when you look at next season, all things considered, you hope that they're healthy, and if they roll over, say, 85 to 90% of this roster, this is a top 3 team in the East. With Boston coming down, Milwaukee is going to come down, and so you have to figure it's going to be Indiana, the Knicks, the Cleveland Cavaliers in some sort of order in the preseason rankings. And so where they go from here, Jason Kidd is obviously the hot name right now. Both sides are interested from what we've heard in terms of Kidd and the New York Knicks. Is he that championship caliber coach to take the Knicks there?
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
Here we go at Oakmont. Let's start with the course. What do we know about this course? How long is the rough, and does course history come into effect for you this week?
The U.S. Open has always been billed as the most difficult test of golf there is on the planet. And I tell you what, it's often labeled as the most difficult golf course in the world is Oakmont.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
Live with you on SportsGrid for an additional 30 minutes as we wait for game number 4 of the NBA Finals. Kevin Walsh here, the Oklahoma City Thunder on the road, a 6-point favorite. The total in this game bouncing around between 226.5 and 228. We'll see where it settles. But the fact that the Thunder are favorites on the road comes as no surprise. The fact that people may be betting them without any hesitation is probably more surprising, as this is a team that has yet to cover on the road. Their biggest margin of victory is 6 points. They are now 4-4 straight up on the road. The thing for OKC is they don't care if it's by 1, 2, or 20. They need this basketball game. Many people believe that. If they do lose tonight, you will likely see, for the first time in a long time, a different team booked as a favorite to win the NBA Finals. I'm not alone, though. I am with Coach James Young and JY. It has been a treat to break this series down together, to go and figure out these matchups, figure out who's going to shine, who's going to fall off. Just take me back, because I've not talked to you since. What was your reaction to Indiana winning Game 3 and taking this series lead?
Rick Carlisle's Rick Carlisle, and we keep disrespecting him, me included, even though I keep telling people to respect him. Listen, he went to the script, and the one thing I've taken from this season and this run by Indiana, Kevin, is this. If you are going to win...
Sorry, I called it. Go ahead, but I called it.
Whatever he called it. Good for you.
Yeah, wait till you find out what it is. Keep going. Keep going.
Okay, well, sorry, I lost my train of thought. So what I saw is if you don't have depth and you don't have a capable backup point guard when you're 1A, your top player is a point guard, Carlisle's going to wear you out. It was literally the Brunson effect. So you had SGA being picked up full court. Daigneault switched up his subbing a little bit, and I think SGA ran out of gas. And not only that, you have Game 3. Kev talked about it before with Naismith, but in regards to Bennedict Mather and T.J. McConnell, home guys in their own arena always tend to play well. So where I'm looking at is if I am adjusting here, and I'm Mark Daigneault.
Well.
What am I looking at? Number one, you better start Isaiah Hartenstein.
Well.
Did he?
Well.
What? Did he?
Called it. Isaiah Hartenstein back in the starting lineup.
I should be the head coach. I told that sucker. I told you. Don't do it. So now it's back. Oklahoma City Thunder win tonight. I'm calling it right now.
Here's the thing, though, right? As JY goes for 100% credit pie. JY said he should do it. I said this time we would. The reality for Mark Daigneault and this Oklahoma City Thunder group is they were not even giving the double big lineup a lot of a chance. But this was a number, JY, where it was almost a spot where someone had to give Daigneault a shake, and maybe he figured it out on his own. Do you know, again, for those that do not understand, tonight's starting lineup, SGA, Dort, J-Dub, Holmgren, Hartenstein, started every single game of this postseason before the finals. Coach, do you know how many minutes in the first 3 games that 5-man lineup played combined? Games 1, 2, and 3?
I'm going to say less than 10.
Zero. That's indefensible. That is... it's getting it so wrong, JY, it makes your head spin.
But I think the thing that Kevin and I talked about before game 1 is you don't do it before game 1. You do it like game 3, game 4 if you need to make an adjustment. So right then and there, by them changing their lineup, I expect Oklahoma City to get off to a good start. Oklahoma City minus 2.5 points in the first quarter, just for them to win the first quarter, is something I'm going to be looking at because I think Daigneault knows that he's got to start off a little bit better tonight. So to me, I look at I just look at a better start by Oklahoma City tonight. But you're right. You don't. Sometimes coaches, folks, just overthink, and they try to get ahead of themselves when it's not necessary, and that's what Daigneault did, Kev. He panicked. I thought he would have changed it for game 2. But they won game 2, so he's probably like, yeah, we're fine.
100%.
But then they go in and lose game 3, and now he's like, and because not only that, their whole rotation is messed up, right? So when Indiana comes in with their second group, they can take advantage of them a little bit more.
Yeah.
This is a better start for OKC. That's why I will take OKC in the first quarter tonight.
And let's just get in the weeds about another aspect of this. So, JY, I'll give you another little bit of piece of trivia. Maybe you know it. Maybe you saw my tweet about it the other day. There's one player who has been a positive plus-minus in each of the first 3 games of this series. Every single game, he's had a positive plus-minus. Do you know who that is?
I'm going to guess it's Hartenstein?
It's Chet. So for me, I look at the decision to put Hartenstein to the bench. If Chet Holmgren is playing great, the Pacers really cannot beat OKC. I do believe that. And I think they've almost now put too much on Chet's place. Chet has to space the floor. He has to be the lob threat. He has to protect the rim. He has to guard on the perimeter. He has to close possessions, rebounding in the basketball. He has to run the floor. It's a little too much, especially, JY, when it's not what he's been doing the whole time because of how much he and Hartenstein have played together in that starting lineup. I also believe another reason why this is a really good decision, it's another reason why I think the total ticking up makes sense. I think for the Indiana Pacers, it is really tough to cover this team with the double big lineups, JY. And I'll go ahead and let you expand on that idea.
Yeah, and that's the whole reason why I thought they should have kept the lineup the way it is, because now what happens is Miles Turner goes to Hartenstein. Pascal Siakam has to go to Chet because Chet's 7 feet tall. So now that means there's going to be an advantage somewhere in the backcourt. To me, I think you make Halliburton be the roamer or the rover and kind of move him around, and he can be the help guy. So that's why I like Lou Dort go over his made threes. I liked it before. I love it now more. I also like, because of Hartenstein is starting with Chet, now rebounding becomes a big thing. So I'm going to go to Miles Turner to go over his rebounding prop of 5.5. Now, he's been shaky. He's been under 8 of the last 9 games, 2 out of 3 under in this series. But to me, because he's not guarding Chet, he's guarding Hartenstein a little bit closer to the basket. Yeah. I think it works there. So I think the other thing is this: is now when you now as a coach, like I'm thinking about, look, where am I going? Besides Lou Dort, I'm curious to see now Jalen Williams first quarter over 4.5 points at plus 104, because now we got to see how the matchups get lined up now in regards to who guards who. that may get Jalen Williams unlocked a little bit. I went with Halliburton game number 3, and I got it with plus money. I think I'm going to jump on Jalen Williams over 4.5 points in the first quarter, plus 104.
Yeah, so that is, again, I say, that harder to guard, right? I think that you now have to figure out, is Miles guarding Hartenstein or Chet? Is Pascal then guarding the other? But again, while Nesmith is a good defender, J-Dub goes at him. He doesn't mind going at him. Jalen Williams he's big, man. And that aggressiveness is important. I'm on Aaron Nesmith. We know that. I'm involved to some degree with Jalen Williams. Let's put our bets on the card and track any moving numbers as we have a huge change heading into game number 4 of the NBA Finals.
Enter into the magical world of McLuck.com, where even the smallest of spins can win real cash prizes. Adventure into over 1,000 of the best Vegas-style slot games. So what are you waiting for? Unlock your free welcome offer today. Join the fun where winners play and players win.
Two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take.
Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this once? Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune in to Game Time Decisions weekdays on SportsGrid.
The game is on. The stakes are high. But the action isn't just on the field.
Rearranging that roof. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
A little flyer, couple of
18.5-point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. It's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Did you know sportsbooks tend to draw up tighter bet lines for events that get even more bettors, like championship games or major matchups? My tip, try betting on less popular sports. You might have a better shot at beating those odds. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
Live right here on SportsGrid, Kevin Walsh, Coach James Young, going through some of our best bets. Potentially, does the Isaiah Hartenstein entrance into that starting lineup change things? I think for me, it just suggests we should approach things with caution around a Hartenstein, around a Kassan Wallace. I don't know. Again, Mark Daigneault's been a little bit unpredictable, I think, within this spot. I think it could open up some areas for Chet. I don't know if it's going to help his rebounding, though. I think things get really, really interesting, JY. Give me maybe your best bet for game number 4 of the NBA Finals.
I have so many things right now that are running through my head. I think with the starting line change, I'm going to switch it off, and I'm going to go the Oklahoma City Thunder minus 2.5 in the first quarter. I think getting the lineup that is what they're used to, getting your rotations now set with normal guys who comes off the bench. I think guys slide into their normal roles and responsibilities. I do like Oklahoma City Thunder minus 2.5 points in the first quarter. That's my best bet for tonight.
I think that makes a ton of sense. I absolutely do. I maintain cautiousness on the total of this game. And all I can tell people is if this game is under, I will be on the over in game number 5. Which just, I know that for sure. My best bet tonight, though, is from the Pacer side of the floor, and it is going to be Aaron Nesmith over 11.5 points. Looks to be a dropping number. I'm seeing plus 106 right now in the market. I don't feel pressure to bet it again, but I think that this is going to be a winner. Aaron Nesmith in a bounce-back spot at home when they play consecutive home games. He has not missed this number in consecutive home games, and the 22 minutes he played was all foul trouble-based. He's fouled out of the game, actually. When he plays 30 minutes, he scores 12 or more points in 7 of those 8 playoff games, JY. I'm really keyed in on Aaron Nesmith tonight.
Yeah, and I think if you think about what we've talked about a lot when Kevin and I do shows together, it's the importance of how role players play better in their home arena.
Yeah, it's a big part of it.
It's a big part of it. So if you think you're going to get a little bit of regression out of Benedict Mathurin and TJ McConnell, then you have to be looking somewhere else, right? I don't think it's Naismith, because I think I don't think it's Nembhard, because I think he's more concerned with he's got to guard SGA at times. So now you're looking at it's Shepard or it's Obi Toppin, who I just think he had his game, so he's done.
Yeah.
So now it's Shepard or it's Naismith. And Naismith is someone that gets really hot, typically after an off game. He's at home, so him going over his points prop makes a lot of sense tonight.
Talk to me about Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Off of certainly his worst game of this series, the 24 points, just 3 points in the fourth quarter. Didn't have great efficiency all in all. Didn't distribute the basketball effectively, finishing only with 4 assists. What do you expect from the league's MVP here tonight?
I think that's the other reason why he went back to his normal starting lineup. Because I think SGA needs to get unlocked a little bit in regards to, now you could drive the ball. You have Hartenstein with his push floater. You're a little bit more dynamic. You're more better offensively. You have Chet now for alley-oops. Chet can also space the floor in a 4-guard offense. So I expect him to be better tonight. I also expect that Rick Carlisle is going to pick him up full court. So I'm looking at what Jalen Williams, 2 things. I'm looking at Jalen Williams over to 4.5 points in the first quarter at plus money. I'm also looking at Jalen Williams over 4.5 assists, because now he may have the matchup advantage now where he may turn the corner and drive the ball. He may be that secondary ball handler, Kevin, and the guy that can turn around and get other people's shots. Look for Jalen Williams to go over 4.5 assists tonight.
I played Jalen Williams for 5 assists in a parlay with SGA for 5 assists. That number looks to be around a plus price now. Both of those guys, neither one has had consecutive games without 5 assists. For the first time all postseason, we enter a game where neither guy had 5 assists in the prior game. So the first time you can kind of double bounce back them within a parlay. I really do like that look, so I'm seeing it similarly to you. My expectations from SGA is he will be scoring 30 points in this game. I believe that. I think he could start hot. If he doesn't, though, I think you look around in that live market, him scoring 25, I know that that's minus 1,000, minus 800, but I think that is going to be the case within this basketball game. So, if you're out there, you're finding odds boost, parlay legs, those are things where I expect Shai to really be in the mix. I'm a little more fascinated in what we got out of Tyrese Halliburton in this game, JY. I think the Halliburton stat line now would kind of rock the world of some people. 18, 7, and 8 on 50-40 shooting, essentially. Doesn't have a free throw yet, so, hasn't missed a free throw either. It's kind of wild he hasn't shot a free throw yet in this series. Tyrese Halliburton has been good in this series. Simply put, in my eyes. It's, can Tyrese Halliburton tonight deliver the 30-point highs? Maybe that's what they need tonight. Or is Tyrese in the 18 and 8 area
or so of this basketball game could be the deciding factor.
If Tyrese Halliburton gets to 30 points, Indiana's up 3-1 heading back to OKC. Simply put.
Yeah.
Because he'll get, Kevin, he's going to get you 7, 8, 9 assists anyway. So that's anywhere between 16 to 30 some odd points just in assists. So just those two things alone puts him at 60 right there. He gets you 60 combined points in regards to what he scores and then what he gives you off the assist market. They're up 3-1. I think they'll do a little bit better job. I think they'll try and push. If I am Mark Daigneault, I sit on his right hip. I push him to his left. So when you see those ball screens coming, those dribble drop ball screens with him going to his right, I expect a really hard hedge, or maybe if you're Mark Daigneault, you'll ice it, which means you'll sit on that right hip, you'll sit the big back and make him attack that angle and turn around and maybe pitch it back to someone like Miles Turner.
And I wonder if maybe Tyrese views bigs as sick, island, cool, bombs away. I wonder if right now they're thinking, okay, Tyrese seems to be most dangerous downhill. And maybe he's less downhill when he thinks, ooh, big on an island. So maybe that's a part of that change as well. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to give you the full slate of our picks for game number 4 of the NBA Finals right here on SportsGrid.
I'm with you in that you're going to have to take calculated risks. And that's what Leon Rose has been about since he's been here. And he's been measured. He hasn't been gung-ho in terms of mortgaging this franchise's future for immediate gains. They have had a prudent approach, and you're going to have to roll the dice in certain respects to get to that top level. And you're right, Donnie, when you look at next season, all things considered, you hope that they're healthy, and if they roll over, say, 85 to 90% of this roster, this is a top 3 team in the East. With Boston coming down, you know Milwaukee's going to come down, and so you have to figure it's going to be Indiana, the Knicks, the Cleveland Cavaliers in some sort of order in the preseason rankings. And so where they go from here, Jason Kidd is obviously the hot name right now. Both sides are interested from what we've heard in terms of Kidd and the New York Knicks. Is he that championship caliber coach to take the Knicks there?
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Here we go at Oakmont. Let's start with the course. What do we know about this course? How long is the rough, and does course history come into effect for you this week?
The U.S. Open has always been billed as the most difficult test of golf there is on the planet. And I tell you what, it's often labeled as the most difficult golf course in the world is Oakmont.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
Game time decisions live here on a Friday night. Coach James Young, I'm Kevin Walsh. We are with you getting ready for game number 4 in the NBA Finals where things can absolutely swing. I will say this, I've not actually talked about this anywhere just yet. I did bet OKC 4-2, 4-3, correct score before the series. That now is OKC to win the series. They can either win it in 6 or they can win it in 7. I could very well just, Pacers to win the series and be done with it. I still tend to believe that Oklahoma City will win this series. Because just like Indiana, they have not lost back-to-back games in this postseason. The thing is, if OKC keeps that true tonight, which I tend to believe they will, then for Indiana to keep that true, they have to win not just one more game, but 2 more games in OKC. And I still think that if we have a Game 7 in Oklahoma City, I fear that some people will be really disappointed. And it could end up being OKC big. They're going to be between 9 and 11-point favorites if we get there. I bring that up mainly because we're hearing a lot of people say, JY, OKC loses tonight, they're not going to win this series. First of all, congrats on your bravery. Thanks, okay? Congrats, the team up 3. But I think you could almost say, if Indiana doesn't win tonight, they're not going to win this series either. This is easily the most important game we've played so far.
It is the most important game of the series because if you look at it, Indiana, if they go back 2-2, 2 to 3 games are in OKC, and they're going to have to get one of them to win the series, provided that they would win Game 6 at home.
Yeah.
And obviously, OKC doesn't want to go down 3-1. This is a pivotal point of the series because it's also of the fact of OKC could just easily just regain home court momentum by getting the split that Indiana got. Now, if you kind of look at this before, this is the script with OKC. Ready? Lose Game 1 at home.
By 1.
By 1. Win in a blowout. Game 2. Questionable decisions. Game 3. Maybe a little bit of a roll in Game 4. I'm staying away from a side. I'm going to play this game live, and I'm going to see the only thing I'm deciding to take right now is a -2.5 in the first quarter. I think it got up to a good start. But this is critical for Indiana, not just to win, but if they lose and they get run out of their own building, and then you got to go back to OKC, it's important for them to keep this game really close to the vest. That's why if you think about the game and you think that you're taking the points, you're also taking the under. Because I think Carlisle's got to make this. It's wild we're saying about Indiana. Their best chance is to make this a 94-foot game in regards to guarding SGA and slowing the game down and grinding it out.
And I think that the move to Hartenstein potentially could make this more of an offensive game. It just may take a while for it to get there because this is going to be a drastic change. You're adding another 7-footer, a talented defensive player, all in all. My action for tonight, Aaron Nesmith over 11.5 points. It's my best bet. SGA and Jalen Williams each for 5 assists, which now looks to be at a plus price. Awesome. Don't be scared to get in the mix. I am going back to something I played in games 1 and 2. I thought I made a mistake by not playing it in game 3. It's just the over rebounds and assists for Shea, J-Dub, and Halliburton. It's 13.5, 12.5, and now a 10.5 number on J-Dub. A bet that I considered playing straight. You'll notice I'm trying to invest in it in different ways with guys around it. I also played 10 RA from each J-Dub and Shea with 20 points and rebounds from Chet Holmgren. And I think some of that, JY, indicates that I am leaning to in this game tonight, OKC. And I agree with you. I tend to lean towards an under.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a grind-out game because I think they're going to keep it close. I do like Jalen Williams, like I said, over the 4.5 assists. Lou Dort over 1.5 made threes. Miles Turner, because Hartenstein's in the lineup, over 5.5 rebounds at plus money. Oklahoma City minus 2.5 in the first quarter. Jalen Williams over 4.5 points in the first quarter. And just a little bit of WNBA really quick. Las Vegas Aces, Lord have mercy. I don't know what's going on with this team. They look like a hot mess, but they're only laying 5. I don't care who's playing. You're only laying 5 to Dallas? Give me the Las Vegas Aces minus the points tonight.
I'll likely be on Jackie Young in that game for 20, 20.5, whatever that number may be. With the absence of Aja Wilson, it's going to be a really good spot for her. It's incredible. We keep thinking about, what's Game 6 going to look like? What's Game 7 going to look like? The Pacers win this game. We're not promised the Game 6 or 7. Time will tell. For Coach James Young, I'm Kevin Walsh. The NBA Finals in-game live coverage is next on SportsGrid.